Hey YouTube, Mike here with Gardenomics coming at you guys with a garden update. So, for the introduction of this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm going to be doing here in the next couple months with my channel and let you guys know what I've got coming your way. One of the first and the most exciting things is that I built this quick and easy little grow chamber, grow cabinet, grow box, whatever you want to call it. And I am currently in the process of editing the video, so that'll be uploaded to my channel very soon. So keep an eye out for that, guys. I go and do some decent details showing you guys how to mount the thermometer or whatever atmosphere monitor you want to use in the outside, refinishing the metal. It still needs a good bit of work, but I wanted to put something together easily and quickly just to show you guys how easy you can get a grow box started. Another thing I'm going to be posting a lot is I'm going to be growing some different plants and some different varieties, and all plants in nature have a function, and throughout the years and due to social conditioning through the media and what have you, we've lost a lot of this knowledge, and I'm going to be putting videos together just putting out the knowledge I have on these plants and the research that I've done, and hopefully it'll help some people out and they'll be able to use these plants, and there are many spectacular uses. And we've been given everything we could possibly need in nature, and we've forgotten that as a people, and we've moved away from producing our own goods and foods to consuming and becoming consumers. And I just wanted to make these videos in the hopes that a lot of people will start producing their own food, and that puts so much power back into our hands. Once you can provide your own food, the peace of mind you get knowing that no matter what happens you'll be able to survive because you have the means to do so. It just takes a huge weight off your shoulders, and it feels good and it feels productive. And so my main goal with this channel, I don't know if I've shared this before in any of my other videos, but eventually I want to take all the profits that I make from these videos and use them to start building greenhouses, self-sustaining, hydroponic, aquaponic greenhouses in communities where good organic food is scarce. And I want to eventually get them to the point where I can have the food given to the public for free and just accept donations to keep the place running. I think that would help a lot of people. And so that's one of the main things I want to do. So by watching these videos, you guys are helping the process get started with this. And everybody that watches my videos, I really appreciate it, and you guys are awesome, and keep growing, keep gardening. If you're not already, I hope this inspires you to start, because now it's of the utmost importance to begin preparing your own food. Another series of videos I'm going to be making that I really find personally extremely interesting and very rewarding is I'm going to be showing you guys how I grow in a hydroponic system using all organic nutrients. And what I do is I buy all organic natural amendments, and using my knowledge that I've gained from the research on hydroponic plants, I make my own blends that the plants thrive off of, using properly balanced ratios of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, as well as providing the plants with micronutrients with products such as this green sand, which I will be going into more detail in this video. Just to give you guys an example, right now I'm setting this aquarium tank up to be built as a hydroponic system. I'm going to be spray painting the sides black to give the roots some protection from the light. It has, as you can see right there, it's got an aquarium heater in it, and it's been a little colder. Right now it's towards the end of March, and it's been slightly colder this past winter. The winter seems to have lasted longer, And so these things are invaluable to me as someone who very much enjoys growing hydroponically, to have these low-cost heaters that keep the water at a constant temperature. This aquarium heater was purchased on Amazon for $16, and it came with a digital thermometer, so you can always know the exact temperature of your water. So in this reservoir right now, all I have is green sand and a little bit of bat guano, but that will be a completely other video which I'll be uploading shortly. So like I said, guys, stay tuned to the channel. If you have the time, please like and subscribe. I'm hoping to put a lot of good information out there, and I don't want you guys to miss out on it. So like and subscribe if you have the time, if you enjoy the subject material. And without further ado, I think we'll start jumping into our video. Hey YouTube, Mike here with Gardenomics, coming at you guys with a pretty simple garden update today. It's finally the first day of spring, and I'm getting ready to start a bunch of seeds indoors just to make sure that there's no unexpected frosts or cold spills that kill off the plants. It's always a bummer to do a bunch of hard work and get all excited about a bunch of seedlings and just have them die because it was too cold. So I am growing right now in a combination of hydroponic and soil. I have a lot of organic soil plants started right now, and I'm going to be experimenting with these Rockwool cubes. It really is a great way to start your seedlings. They allow you to see more of the germination process than you would instead of when the seed is covered in soil. You can look down and actually see the taproots emerging from the seeds, which really allows you to better plan and prepare the seedlings for whatever environment you're going to have them living in. So I decided that I just am going to start a bunch of seeds. I got a 100-count Rockwool slab on Amazon for something like $9. They were very cheap, and it's going to add a lot of convenience to my grow. So I picked out a few varieties here. Some of these are a little bit more experimental and just something I wanted to try, and others have specific purposes, but I'll get to that. This is Catnip, and the reason that I wanted to grow this is I have been having trouble with mice coming around and eating my seedlings, so I figured if I put this out in the garden it would maybe attract some stray cats and whatnot and just have, you know, some predatory protection for my plants, keep some of the pests away. The next seeds here in this small tube are basil seeds, another heirloom variety. I like to keep all of my seeds heirloom variety just because I know what the GMOs are intended to do to us. So I like to keep my seeds organic the way they were intended to be. This is Wormwood, and I got this because I wanted to try to make absinthe. I figured that would be a fun side project as well as a cool video for you guys to see. And what I want to be experimenting with in my channel is just showing you guys like the diversity that we have been given in nature. And it's absolutely astounding. Like, everywhere you look, it's just gifts from nature that you can use to, you know, just make your life better and help the people around you. And so this is one of the ones for that. So I'm going to be interested to see this grow. Right here I have some limestone lettuce. I eat a ton of lettuce, so I'm going to start a bunch of these. The majority of these will probably be limestone lettuce and the basil. I'll probably only do a couple of the wormwood and the catnip. The peppermint. Now, this one was interesting, and I wanted to grow this because it has a lot of insect properties, or insect repellent properties, if you will.
And I have read a lot about this online, about its ability to prevent spiders and basically any other insects from entering your home. So I'm going to be putting this in pots probably around my house to keep bugs out. So it's really cool. I'll post an update showing you guys how it works and just the progress. Next I have classic, something every gardener should grow, the heirloom tomatoes. I'm going to be starting these off in here, and I have a patch of land outside that I'm working on developing and conditioning the soil for when the good weather's truly around and I can have the time to get outside and work at it. But I'll be growing these inside and starting them off, so when they plant they'll be larger come fruiting time for them.
Okay, so now that you guys have an overview of the seeds I'm going to be planted, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to be doing it, the process I'm going to use, as well as just some exact measurements and a couple of amendments that I add to the water for my seedlings. And also I got a little tip for you guys, which is this, but we'll get back to that later. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a plan for how many of each seed I want to germinate, and then I will take the Rockwool cubes and I will put the seeds in, and using my turkey baster right there, I will gather some water from my aquarium here, which I have an aquarium heater in it, which is a godsend for any hydroponic growers that live in climates or have systems outside when it gets colder in the winter. It's a great way to keep the temperature even, and you can really do some cool things with these, such as growing tropical and fruiting flowering plants hydroponically by keeping the water at the proper temperature using one of these heaters. So, as I was saying, I'll be taking some of the water out of the aquarium, which right now is at around 70 degrees, and I'm going to be soaking the Rockwool cubes. Now, in this water in the aquarium tank, all I have in it right now is green sand. And green sand is one of my favorite amendments for any grow. And the reason for this is that it single-handedly delivers 84 trace minerals and nutrients that, in such large with such a large diversity of the minerals, you basically guarantee that any plant species that you plant is going to have the nutrients it needs when it, first starts to grow. When it first cracks out of the seed, it's going to come into the world happy, and it'll have any trace nutrient it possibly needs to grow. So I really like adding this, and I highly recommend you guys doing this. I like to grow organic in my hydroponic systems, and I make my own blends of nutrients, which I'll make a video of coming up here shortly. And I've had some really spectacular results with some of my blends. So this is definitely a great amendment. It's something that's great to add to it. The next amendment I have here is the Granular Endo Mycorrhizae fungi. Many of the more experienced gardeners will already know what this is, but for those of you that don't know, the mycorrhizal fungi is a naturally occurring beneficial fungi that forms a symbiotic relationship with plants' roots. How this works is the mycorrhizal fungi develops a network in the soil through the growth of its mycelium, and through this network the fungi is able to break down nutrients and convert them into forms that the plant's roots can consume. After it breaks down these nutrients, it then brings it to the plant's root zone in exchange for carbohydrates from the plant, which is this fungi's primary food source. Now, traditionally, this is used in soil growing, as it's like I said, it's a naturally occurring fungi and it's found in all soil. And though most people use it strictly for soil, I have found that it can also benefit in a hydroponic and aquaponic system. If you could take this and sprinkle it into the
Rockwool cubes you'll be using. That will aid in the plant gathering nutrients, as well as simply sprinkled on top of the expanded clay pellet medium, also known as hydrogen. I highly recommend adding this, especially if you're gonna. It really shines in the organic soil growing, and it can really change how you grow things. One of the benefits to using this in an organic setup is that if you're growing in pots specifically, this can allow you to drastically reduce the size of the container you will need, because the plant's roots won't have to grow around as much and take up as much room, because this fungi will bring the nutrients directly to the plant. So that'll help save you on soil, as well as kind of the cool factor of having an extremely large plant in a small pot. So I highly recommend picking some of this up if you don't have it in your arsenal. It's very reasonably priced. I got this container on Amazon for something like $12, and it's lasted me well over a year. So if you can, pick some up. The next and final item I'll be using in this video for the germination, and this is one of my little tips for you guys, is this is a leftover food container from a restaurant. I'm not sure which one, I can't remember, but it's got an opaque bottom, which means that light can't shine through it, so your roots will have protection. And it has this lid right here, which you can detach, and it makes a perfect humidity dome for the seedlings. I've had great success with these. They work really well. You get like, sometimes depending on the plant, you can get like 100% germination in these consistently. And for this, all you'll want to do is you're going to want to just poke a couple holes in the top, just to give the plants some airflow and some ventilation, because I typically germinate a lot of seedlings, so there's a high density of plants, and they're going to need fresh air in order to maintain solid growth levels. Okay, so now that I've listed all of the materials that you'll need, and the ones that I'm using if you want to do it this way, it's time to begin the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cutting the number of Rockwool cubes I'll need and placing them into the tray to get ready to soak with the water from the hydroponic system below. The Rockwool cubes are quite easy to tear, but I like to use a knife because they cut nicely and it looks cleaner. That was not a very good example because I was cutting it with one hand and filming, but you can, trim off the excess, make it look clean squares if you want. If you don't really care, just do your thing, but it's whatever you want to do. So now that I have the Rockwool cubes cut out and placed into the germination tray, I'm going to come up with the plan for which plants I want to grow and how many of each I want to do. Since this tray is only holding 16 slabs comfortably, or just where I wanted them to be, I've decided that I'm going to do 2 catnips, 2 wormwoods, 2 peppermints. Then I'm going to do 3 basils, 3 tomatoes, boxcar willies, and then 4 limestone lettuces. And I think that'll make a pretty good start. And in another week, I'll start another tray. And this goes along with the perpetual harvest system, which again, I'll make another video of. I've got a ton of videos to make for you guys. I'm really excited. I got a bunch of ideas. So, like and subscribe. But now that I have the Rockwool cubes cut, and I have a plan for my seeds, what I'm going to be doing is taking some water from the hydroponic system, which is at 78 degrees, which is perfect for germinating seedlings, especially some of the varieties I have here. The only plant that this might not be as favorable for is the lettuce, which does like some cooler temperatures, but I think it'll do just fine because once it's out of the hydroponic system, it'll cool down for a while to around 60 degrees before I add more water. But right now in this reservoir, in the hydroponic system, in terms of nutrients, all I have in there is green sand and some bat guano, the down-to-earth brand. And the reason I did that is because I recently just transplanted this bean sprout into there, and so I have a very light, mellow mix in the reservoir. And that allows the plant to adjust to its new situation and adjust to the fact that it is now being fed nutrients that are constantly available to it. And so I just wanted that to adjust. And you want to do the same thing with your seedlings, obviously. You don't want to overpower them with nutrients. You want to ease them into it so they have a chance to grow and find and take what they need. Your job is just to make the nutrients available to the plant. The plant will do the rest of the work and take what it needs. But it'll take what it needs. And that's the problem with a lot of the synthetic nutrients. Most of the nutrients, such as Miracle-Gro and stuff that's not organic matter, they have what are called chelating salts. And what these do is they break down all the nutrients in the system or the soil or whatever, and they break them down immediately, and they constantly are force-fed to the plant. When you grow using natural things that do not have those chelating salts, they break down more slowly and are available to the plant at reasonable rates. And it allows the plant to grow happier. The tastes are night and day compared to what you get when you grow with Miracle-Gro. And there's just so many benefits to growing organically, not to mention the health benefits. So that's why I stick to the organic blends in my hydroponic systems. There's a lot of pre-bottled and created organic nutrients, but I've had my best results making my own, and not to mention the amount of money that you save doing this. Like, you could spend $30 at an awesome hydroponic store, and admittedly, you'll get some really good nutrients, but they'll last you, a month, 2 months, 3 months, and you'll spend $20 to get this stuff, but it'll last you years. So, if you're looking to save money and go the organic hydroponic route, I recommend doing some research, figuring out what the plant's like, and just adding it to the water. Pretty much any organic amendment you add to your soil, you can add to the water. But that'll be a whole nother video. So, with the bat guano and the green sand is, as I've said before, this provides 84 trace minerals and nutrients. So your seedlings are going to have everything that they need to come into the world and be happy and be provided for. And the bat guano, that's going to add some nitrogen, and that's going to give them a little boost. It also has a little bit of phosphorus in it, which is important for early development and root growth in seedlings. So now that I know I'm about to soak these, I'm about to just get that done and show you guys how I do it. I use this turkey baster right here, and that makes things incredibly easy. If you have an indoor garden or any garden, I recommend getting one of these. It makes watering your seedlings so much easier. That or a misting spray bottle, you really can't go wrong. So I'm pulling some water up, getting some of that good organic matter off the bottom. Bring it over here, and you're going to want to soak each one of these pretty thoroughly. Alright, so as you guys can see, I have given the Rockwool cubes a nice soaking with the water from the hydroponic system, which is 76 degrees right now. And if you guys can see that, there's a very thin layer of water at the bottom. And I left this in here because this will allow, the Rockwool cubes will wick that moisture up through the material towards the seeds. So I like to leave a little bit of extra water in there just to ensure that it stays nice and humid in there. So now that they're soaked, what I'm going to do is, using these scissors, I'm going to make my indentations for where I'm going to put the seeds. They already have small indentations in them, but I'm going to be adding the mycorrhizal fungi, and I like to put that underneath the seed where the roots will be able to find it. And the reason for that is the mycorrhizal fungi, once it gets wet, will die after 24 to 36 hours without finding living roots to attach to. So I'm going to poke the holes, and then I will show you guys how I add the fungi, how much I use. Alright guys, so I just made my holes in the Rockwool cubes, so now it's time to add my fungi here. And here you guys go. This is what it looks like. Try to get the angle there, let's see. Very granular, and you're not going to need a lot of this stuff at all because it'll colonize and it'll grow and expand and colonize the Rockwool. So I'm just going to take literally just a very, very small pinch, can't even see it between the two fingers hardly, and just couple little granulars in each hole, and that'll be enough to do it to start the colonization of the grow medium for the mycelium. I'm going to do that with each one of these, and then it'll be time to germinate our seeds.
Alright, so the Rockwool cubes have been soaked and the mycorrhizal fungi has been added. Now I'm going to take out my seeds and I'm going to place them on this plate. And I found the easiest way to put the seeds in the Rockwool is to get like a small wooden stick or like a chopstick or tweezers even, and it just makes it easier and more precise to get the seeds to where you want them to go. It's not obviously not necessary, you can do it, I think it makes it easier. So I'm going to figure out how many of these seeds I need, and I'm going to place them in the hole. Let's get to it. First off, we have our Boxcar Willie heirloom tomato seeds. Now, I only need 3 of these seeds technically because I'm only using 3 of the Rockwool cubes. But I like to put 2 seeds in each hole, and then once the plants start growing and one of the seedlings is much larger and healthier than the other, I will thin them out. So here are what the tomato seeds look like. Pretty cool looking little seeds. Look like sort of like flakes of oatmeal. So we'll group these together here so I don't get them confused with any of the other varieties. Alright, so that's the tomatoes done. Next up, the limestone lettuce. And these lettuce seeds usually have a very good germination rate, so I'm still going to do the 2 seeds per hole, but it's probably going to end up being a little bit more culling for me later. It takes all about 5 minutes, so I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so there are the limestone. Now for the peppermint. And these seeds are extremely, extremely small. I don't know how easy it is for you guys to tell. I don't have my tripod yet, so the angles are kind of off, but yeah, so here we go with these. Seeds are extremely small. Alright, there's the peppermint. Next up, our catnip. And finally, our basil. Alright, now I'm going to place the seeds in their proper locations, and then it'll be time to give them another good soaking to activate the germination process, and then we'll just sit and talk a little bit about the plans for them, and that'll be all we can do after that is wait. Here we go. So I just finished up putting all the seeds in these Rockwool cubes, and after I did that, I soaked them again to activate the germination process so that these plants can begin their lives and hopefully come into the world happy and grow strong and healthy. So now that I've done all that and the seedlings are ready to germinate, all it is simply a waiting game. So I'm going to be closing the lid on this germination tray, keep it humid in there, and I'm going to be placing it inside my grow cabinet here underneath a 50-watt LED panel. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you like the subject matter. I hope I managed to help a couple of you guys out with any questions you might have had with your germination. I'll be sure to post regular updates on this. And please keep an eye out for new videos coming from me. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have the grow cabinet video coming soon. And for what I'm going to do for this video is I have several of the catnip seeds left over, and anybody who would like them, just post down below in the comments that you'd like to have them, and I'll mail them to you along with a note. So if you want them, comment down below and let me know, and I'll send them your way. Thanks for the support, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Have a good night and happy gardening.